Hi, my name is Maddie, and I watched Zombies 4 because nobody else wanted to, so you're welcome. I love the Zombies franchise, except for the second one. I made a video on all three, and some other zombies-related things about the cast and stuff, which you can go watch if you'd like. It's not necessary to understand this video, but if you don't know what zombies is, then why are you watching this? I'm assuming you already do. I was very nervous going into this movie due to the trauma that I received from Descendants: The Rise of Red. That movie was interesting. The ending was horrible. It was so bad, and I have been scared of reboot movies ever since. If you want my review of that movie, let me know. I have a lot of thoughts. Anyways, for this video, I'm going to be doing two separate reviews, one as a non-spoiler and then one as a spoiler. In case you wanted to watch it first, there will be timestamps in the video, but in case they don't show up or something, the first review will be the non-spoiler. So for this section, all the exposition I will be giving is based on what the trailer told us. So this is nothing new or crazy that I learned from the movie, it's just whatever was in the trailer, and I interpreted it the way I did. We have our main characters, Zed and Addison, and they are on summer break from college, and they find themselves at a camp with vampires and daywalkers. The vampires and daywalkers hate each other due to some generational war beef that they've got going on. We have some new important characters that you'll need to know for the movie. Our daywalkers are Nova and Ray, and the vampires are Victor, Vargas, and Vega. As you can tell, they went for V names for vampire. Very clever. And Addison, being Addison, wants to make them get along because that's what she does. That is her ambition and goal in life. As far as the vampires and daywalkers, I found their lore pretty interesting. There's a few plot points that they don't explain. They introduce and they forget to explain them. I'm assuming that they might explain them in later movies. It was nothing glaringly obvious, but it was something I was still thinking about, and I was like, they never picked up on that. But I'm assuming it was for a greater purpose, but I'm actually not sure. The pacing isn't horrible in this movie. It kind of reminds me of Zombies 1, where there's just a lot of things happening, and then it picks up at the end with some actual, repercussions for things that were happening. With this movie, though, there's actually, a storyline to follow, and there's, steps needed to progress the story. So that kind of felt a bit off, because it felt like we were pushing that back, and we were just kind of explaining things or saying things, but it wasn't, a huge issue. I think they had a little bit of trouble world building and plot progression at the same time, so sometimes it's, only one or the other. Very rarely are things happening at the same time. I think the movie had a really good balance of the old characters versus the new characters. It never felt really focused on one or the other, even though the story really does revolve around the new people and what their story is and all that nonsense. Zed and Addison have their own plot in the movie. It's not super important, but it exists. There are a lot of songs. Some are good, some are bad, and some are just okay. There's nothing about this movie I could pinpoint that was really bad, but there's also nothing I would say is my favorite part. I do think it's a good starting point for carrying on the franchise and giving it some new life and lore and all that to go off of. And I think that they introduce enough that they could write a few more movies from what they've done here. I think that's all I have with no spoilers. I hope that helped, but it probably was not very helpful. I don't know. The beginning of this movie opens up like every other zombies movie, and we have a little voiceover from Zed and Addison. In this opening, we learn that there was actually 2 moonstones that crashed into Seabrook. Two of them. You know, the one that the werewolves have, and then there's also a second one that they forgot to mention until now because they hadn't written that part yet. When this moonstone crashed into Earth, obviously, it created problems like it always does, and it created vampires and daywalkers because the stone split in 2, if that makes sense. Because it's split in half, it creates this line between daywalkers and vampires, so there's literal line if you step from one place to another. It's super dark on the vampire side and then bright as the sun on the daywalker side. And apparently the vampire and daywalker ancestors fought over some fruit, and so now they hate each other. Similarly, in today's world, the daywalkers are preparing for harvest because all the trees that have the fruit in Daywalker Land are dying. So they have to go to the main orchard to go get some. There we meet Nova, whose dad is in charge of the whole Daywalker people, so she's kind of a nepo baby. The vampires also have the exact same problem. They also need to go to the orchard in the middle to get fruit. And we meet Victor, who is a nepo nephew. They never explain if he has parents, and personally I don't really care, but it's just something my sister really wanted to know. She was like, they only introduce his aunt, and she was just like, so does he not have parents? I don't know. For our OG characters, we have Zed, who wants to go to football camp. Addison wants to go to cheer camp. Willa and Eliza are the only 2 other cast members from the old movies that we get to see, and they're going camping. They're all in Zed's car, then they get hit from this mysterious force field, and the car literally crashes because Zed zombies out due to the force field. Zed and Addison go looking for help, and Zed ends up running into the Daywalkers, and Addison runs into the vampires, and they get caught up in the whole fruit business. So that's where they are for the entire movie. Also, the vampire land is called Shadyside, and I guess that makes sense because it's in the shade the entire time, but I do think that's kind of funny that it's just called Shadyside because I don't know if the Daywalker land is called anything. And because the fruit is dying out in the orchard, it's kind of like a battle. Who gets the most, like, who gets all the fruit? They're just gonna fight it out. That's their plan. Everyone's plan is to fight it out for the fruit. There's also some stuff that you need to know about the Daywalkers. They have the power of the sun, so they have like these sun ball things and they can shoot it at people and like subsequently make fire. They think that they're better than the vampires. The vampires have lightning slash wind powers, and I think because of this, they can fly. The really interesting part of this movie is introduced that Nova and Victor have visions of each other, like in their sleep. And I think Nova just gets a vision of him. Yeah, they have visions of each other, and it's never explained. I'll talk about that later, but like, they never explain that. The vampires and the Daywalkers, they meet at the gate and they start arguing, believe it or not. They need 3 keys to open the door to the orchard, and then Addison tells them that they'll help them if they agree to like get along and share the fruit. Just Addison doing what Addison does best. They agree to this, but Nova's dad has like evil intentions and intends on stealing all the fruit once they get in there, but that doesn't come in until the end of the movie. They all have to stay at a camp that's conveniently nearby, and surprisingly, they do not want to work together. They sing a song called Don't Mess With Us, and there's a line in there that says, "Watch your back, little monster." I was unaware that they were Lady Gaga stans, but if they are, that's iconic. This is when Nova and Victor actually meet for the first time, and they have like a little meet cute. Some could claim that they fell in love at first sight. I would claim that. It's very reminiscent of the first Zombies with Zed and Addison reheating their nachos, if you will. During this song, they find the first key for the gate and they open up one of the gates. There's 3 different gates, you need a key for all. And after that, the groups appear to get along. That night, Nova and Victor sing a song in some cave about being in love. Freya Sky sounds really good though. They also find a key while singing said song. During all this, by the way, that weird force field thing at the beginning is kind of important because there's these weird power surges and it is attempting to kill Zed, not just Zed. It's like affecting him because of his Z-band and he like uses it all the time or whatever. And Eliza figures out if they don't like fix that soon, Zed will turn into a zombie forever. So there's your stakes for them. They find out what the source of it is, and it's these vines underneath the ground which connect to the orchard trees, and they're being crushed by some tower that will come in later, which I knew it would come in later. I saw it and I was like, yes, obviously, but nobody else seemed to think that way. But maybe that's because I'm an adult watching a children's movie. The moral of that is that they all work together to move the tower. They find the last key through this puzzle, and then they all go into the orchard together as, you know, one big happy family. And then the adults show up from the beginning, which is Victor's aunt and Freya's dad. Freya's dad. Sorry, I forgot her name was Nova. I just keep calling her Freya Sky. Then it's revealed that Nova's dad just wanted to steal them the entire time. Victor feels betrayed because they needed a conflict. They were doing too well. And Victor's aunt is just there. Vera, who is friends with Victor, obviously, and Ray, who is friends with Nova. I almost said Freya Sky again. They were the one who snitched to the adults because they didn't like the fact that Victor and Nova were together. It's giving very much Bucky activities. Once again, this was very reminiscent of the first movie. The adults accidentally burn some fruit, and then they've decided that then and there they have to go to war. Before that happens, Nova and Victor make up and they decide that they need to go get their town's respective moonstones. They need to put them together and it will magically save the day. During this, Zed literally almost dies. Like, I'm not even joking. He is almost canonically dead, but then he is saved by the reprise of Someday. I wish I was kidding. I'm not even joking. I knew that was gonna happen too. I told my sister, I was like, I'm calling it. They're gonna include Someday in this movie. I know they will. Like everyone imagined, the moonstone saves the orchard because now there's fruit again. And apparently everybody just gets along now. It saved it. That was it. The moonstone really just changes everything, I guess. And then at the end, Nova and Victor are on the beach and they see a water cyclone coming from the ocean, which I'm assuming is teasing another movie. I can only imagine it has something to do with like mermaids or something. I'm assuming in that movie, the intro will tell us that there was actually another moonstone that went into the ocean. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I hate that plot point. I thought that was very stupid. I've got dual costumes for this movie. Isn't that awesome? Some things I had in my notes were that Zed and Addison share a very cute moment somewhere near the middle. I thought that was very nice. Daniel Davenport was in fact mentioned once. Nova does a lot of flips, which is never explained. I'm assuming Freya Sky did gymnastics, and they just said, maybe you should do some flips. And flips she did. And Malachi Barton's eyebrows look very good. I know that might sound very weird to say, but they're very prominent on his face, and they look good. Something my sister noted, she wants to know if the vampires slash daywalkers go to school. Because, like, Freya Sky, I'm so sorry. She's just gonna be called Freya Sky. I cannot call her name. I'm so sorry. Because, like, Freya Sky is a monarch, almost. She's, like, nearly there. And does she also have to worry about her GPA? I'm unsure. It's just something to think about. Also, something I felt like I had to bring up when I was looking for photos is that Freya Sky looks fantastic on the movie poster. One of them anyway, there's a lot. But but the one. She looks fantastic. I'll put it on screen. And I decided to include a little review of the songs in the movie because I have notoriously hated a lot of the songs in Zombies. This time was a little bit no different. The first one I have is the beginning song. I said it was fine. It's not something I would write home about. Next is the Daywalker Vampire song. I would listen to it. I actually really like that one. They played on Disney Channel a lot, like during the commercials and stuff. I don't mind that one. The third one is Don't Mess With Us. See, I actually know the title of this one. I think that this is really good, and this is what It's Going Down from Descendants 2 really wanted to be. Next is the Freya Sky and Malachi Martin song. I don't know what it's called. It's okay. It's not Someday, but it's alright. Next one I had is the Zed Night song, which sounds insane. I'm pretty sure it's called Kerosene. It's horrible. It is the worst song maybe I think I've ever heard, which is a very over-exaggerant, but even my sister didn't like it. So that must mean a lot because she likes a lot of things. The actual note I wrote down was awful, get it out. Next is the Freya Sky song. I said it wasn't bad. It's like her solo song. It's like her Gabriella, I'm singing about Troy song. It's also kind of giving Stand from the first Zombies movie, which I notoriously hate. So it's better than that. The next one I expertly titled Passing the Torch song. It's the one Zed and Addison sing to Malachi Barton and Freya Sky. I said it was boring. Then I have the final song. I said it was decent. At least it wasn't the BAM reprise like in the first movie, so I will take it. And then at the very-ish end, Zed and Addison sing a reprise of Ain't No Doubt About It, which was my favorite song from the third Zombies movie because it's the only good song. So I was very happy about that, actually. I mentioned this before, but they do not explain why Nova and Victor have visions of each other. That is the most interesting thing that I think Zombies lore could have ever introduced to the franchise, and they forgot to explain it. They just forgot to talk about it. I'm assuming it's like a fate thing, which is like fine and all, but like, are they the only people who have it? Is it a vampire specific thing, or can it happen to anyone? I don't know. I'm not sure if it was necessary, but maybe it is, and it's like something that I don't understand quite yet. I feel like they could have had a meet cute, and it would have made the same amount of sense with or without having the visions in their heads. But whatever. I didn't write the movie. Zed and Addison also have their own plot point in this movie. It's about taking time off to care about your friends and your family because they're so worried about school. This is pushed mainly by Eliza and Willa, but also due to the fact that Zed almost dies 3 times in this movie. 3 separate times he almost dies. Also, Eliza and Willa are literally just kind of there. They don't really do much, which is rude. I like them both. I do think that the whole older cast storyline that they had was a good way to kind of like ease them out of the story. They're all just kind of happy and in college, which is great, you know? That means that they don't need to be there. Then it obviously opens up room for the new people to take over, which I'm assuming is what they wanted to do. I'm not sure who would come back for like potential movies. I mean, I don't think they really need to bring in more old cast people. I think there's enough to explore in the stuff that they introduced in this movie to continue. I'm not sure if they really need to keep bringing back old people, but I would like to see Seabrook again. We don't see Seabrook once in this movie. Not at all. Unless you want to count the introduction at the beginning where they say, we're from Seabrook. As for the new actors, I think Malachi Barton is very charming. He has very good comedic timing, so I think he'll fill the role of Milo Manheim pretty decently. I also really like McKinnon. I think he's really funny, but he like disappears at the end of the movie. He's just not there for some reason. I'm assuming maybe there was like maybe some scheduling problems and like he couldn't be there, but yeah, he just wasn't there until like the very, very end. He just kind of shows up on screen. And I was like, oh, he's back now. Next, I think Freya Sky is a fantastic vocalist, and I can really see her as the main girl for this franchise going forward. She can very much carry her own, that's for sure. I really do wish that they would give her better songs. She deserves it. And that's literally all I have to say about this movie. There's like pretty much nothing else. It was definitely better than Descendants Rise of Red. What a bar to meet. Disney Channel hasn't debuted a new show after a Disney Channel original movie in such a long time, but they have this time. They played the first 2 episodes while I was writing this script, so I thought I would review them as well, just for fun. The show is called Electric Bloom. It's about these 3 girls, and they are in a band. You want to guess what it's called? It's called Electric Bloom. Shocker, I know. The show is kind of like How I Met Your Mother, the format-wise, if that makes sense. It's okay. I liked it better than Villains of Valley View, tell you that much. If you want me to review the entire show when it, like, all comes out, then comment that below. I'd be willing to do it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please tell me in the comments what you thought of the movie, what you think of the new leads, where the direction's going, and then like what are your thoughts on the potential future movies? I want to know it all. If you're at all interested, I have a channel with my sister called Z&Z Adventures, named after the iconic Zack and Cody, and we have a podcast. God, I know, another podcast in this world, I apologize. But we also have some other videos planned that's like early 2010s-ish YouTube, so if that sounds like something that you're interested in, feel free to subscribe. You can also subscribe to me if you like this video. I'm back to making videos. I know I disappeared forever and I got pink hair. It's summer and I don't have a schedule. That's all for me. Bye-bye. Also, I have a Darth Maul t-shirt. How iconic is that? I think I've said iconic 40 times in this video alone.